Brothaz At Armz is another song that Tupac recorded for his unfinished One Nation album. This track features Buckshot and Tek Steele, the latter pair also known as Smith & Wesson. Tupac actually intended the name of this song to be Brothers in Arms. We know this because it appears as Brothers in Arms in all of the handwritten track lists he made for the One Nation album, and he calls it the same in a snippet of behind the scenes footage filmed for Gobi Rahimi's 7 Days movie, where he discusses the song. This title also makes more sense because Brothers in Arms is a phrase that describes men who serve together in a conflict, especially a war, or, by extension, men who share a very close, strong relationship. This was definitely the theme Tupac was going for on One Nation, with its concept of unity alongside his comrades in rap. For these reasons, I'll refer to this track as Brothers in Arms from this point on. In the behind the scenes footage mentioned, Tupac tells his assistants that he wants to make a music video for Brothers in Arms. I think this is strong evidence that he intended this to be another single from One Nation, along with Worldwide Dime Piece, which I discussed in another video. His assistants scribble down notes as Pac tells them that he wants the video to be filmed in Los Angeles.
Where do you see any of these happening? Here?
One has got to be both New York and Worldwide Down Piece is going to be both places. That's the one I want Ralph McDaniels to do. Brothers in Arms could be out here.
In an extended version of the footage posted on Bomb First's YouTube channel, unfortunately no longer available, Tupac elaborates that the Brothers in Arms video is to be shot in LA, on the streets, in the studio, and at Tupac's house. This footage will be interspersed with segments filmed in the boot camp Clik's native Brooklyn. As a fan of Tupac, it's incredible to get these tidbits of information and imagine what this video might have looked like. That said, I'm kind of surprised that Pac chose Brothers in Arms to be a single, because it's not one of my favourite songs. The track has a bare bones beat that is often stripped down completely, leaving only the sound of a closed hi-hat. This is accompanied by a sample of the saxophone melody from Marvin Gaye's 1978 song, Falling in Love Again. This short sample is repeated throughout Brothers in Arms and, in my opinion, becomes quite tedious after a while. More interesting to me are the lyrics, in which Tupac takes aim at his former friend and collaborator, Stretch, from the Live Squad. Tupac raps that it's time for retaliation for Stretch's alleged involvement in Tupac being robbed and shot at Quad Studios in New York in 1994. Tupac describes his head all busted, a reference to being shot twice in the head, and he expresses disbelief that Stretch could have ever turned on him. Despite Tupac's vengeful lyrics, Stretch was already dead at the time this track was recorded, murdered by still unknown assailants exactly 1 year, almost to the minute, after Tupac's New York shooting. Speculation continues to this day about whether Tupac had anything to do with Stretch's murder, or if it was because of another beef Stretch had got himself into in New York. It would have been particularly important for Tupac to get Smith & Wesson on this track, because the year before, when Tupac was in prison, they had shown solidarity with him by giving him a shout out in the sleeve notes to their album, The Shining. At a time when he thought many of his friends were abandoning him, this meant a lot to Tupac, who truly saw Smith & Wesson as Brothers in Arms because of that gesture. The track received an unofficial release in 2010 by Australian label Zelon Entertainment, but it has never received an official release. Lastly, a cool piece of trivia is that this track seems to have been the inspiration for the song Tupac wrote for boxer Mike Tyson's entry music for his bout against Bruce Seldon on September 7th, 1996, which was, of course, the same night that Tupac was fatally shot. In the song, called Let's Get It On, Tupac has worked his Let's Get It On ad-libs, repeated at the end of Brothers in Arms, into a chorus for the boxing music. If you've not heard Brothers in Arms yet, give it a listen, link in the description below, then drop me a comment to let me know what you think.